He's a good guy.
So,
you'll do this well.
yeah. Oh.
It's like
This is all part of the video.
Yeah, we can make everything part of the video.
This is all part of the video, Janish.
That's awesome.
You're in
We're
our
already
video.
rocking and rolling.
So,
No, do it clapper.
That's you. This is your topic.
okay,
I
so
have no
what we're
idea
talking about is why we don't want to talk to you if you have a realtor. No offense. Ready, set, real estate. So, often we'll get messages from people who want information on our listings or advice on real estate who already have a realtor. So one of the first questions we ask is, are you working with a realtor? They'll say, yes, I'm working with this person. And then I'll say, okay, talk to them. And sometimes I think maybe it comes off rude, especially with like my resting bitch face. They're just like, oh, she's like, go talk to your realtor. But really I'm like, no, it's because that person is representing you and helping you. I don't want to step on their toes. We're not actually allowed to interfere with that. So that's what should be happening. And sometimes I really wish I could just reply because it's a simple question, but I don't want to interfere with that relationship. And it can easily get construed. It can easily get, back to their realtor where they're like, oh, well, Jessica told me. And they're like, why were you talking to Jessica? And all that sort of stuff, right? So just to avoid any sort of conflict, to obey the rules, not step on anyone else's toes, and to also respect the relationship they have with the other realtor, we always just say, you'll have to find out from your realtor. And I don't think that the public knows that necessarily, because I have had people say things like, well, it's just a quick question, or I don't know why you can't answer, or my realtor's on holidays or whatever. But if that's the case, that's up to them to get that coverage. And unfortunately for the buyer, that is how it works. So we wish we could help in some ways, but we can't. So that's why for a buyer. And for a seller, when you're under contract with another realtor, you're in a contract with them. So same thing, reversed, really.
Yeah, because there's like implied agency and there's like explicit, like where it's written in a contract. And so like you don't know if someone's under that implied thing where they have an agent or not. Now, if they tell you like, hey, I'm working with an agent, he's on vacation, can you just let me know a couple things about the house because you're like the listing agent, which I'm sure you get a lot of that. I have a ton of that, and you want to be able to just answer those simple questions and help out. But like you said, you can't really interfere. You literally touched on it. Like you've already kind of answered pretty much everything to do with that, which is like you can't interfere in a relationship. The rules are you can't even talk to another agent's client, right? Like you can't even
you're
talk
supposed
to them,
like
so
seize all communication when you find out they have
which
it.
is very difficult. Like I had it happen this past week where someone reached out to me and said, hey, I'm working with a real estate agent. They I forget what it was, like they're just not putting in offers for me, or he's not doing this or that.
I had that same message.
Maybe that same client. Well, it's not my client, it's the other agent's client, right? And so for me, it's like, I want to tell them, you get to choose who you want to work.
Are they actually working with the realtor?
Nothing was signed, but they're saying it's their agent. So that's enough right there, right? That they've been working with this agent. Like the agent's either shown them houses or given advice on real estate. So at that point, that's their client. It's implied, right? So once we're aware of that, you have to just say like, you're supposed to say like, sorry, I can't talk to you. You have to talk to your realtor. Now, if you just say that to someone, they'd be like, wow, that person's a dick,
exactly.
right? It's like, no, it's just like, that's actually what we have to do. But I would want everyone to know that you as the client, unless you've signed something and then it's a little different, my policy is different than other agents' policies, which is like, if you want to cancel, if you sign something with me, it's totally fine. Like I would do it right away. I shouldn't say I don't care, because I care, but I don't care to like hold you to something you don't want to do. But anyways, you have to be the one to like fire your agent and have that conversation, be free, and then come to me. But I can't just like tell you that, because then maybe it could get misconstrued, like you said, that I'm trying to get you to fire your agent.
Exactly.
So like, what am I supposed to say?
Like, I just say that's something you have to discuss with your realtor. And hopefully they will be like, talk to them about it and not me, because it definitely puts us in an awkward position for sure. I think that people also just need to be aware of what they're getting into with any realtor, whether they're happy or not, whatever. So, when they're buying, if they are signing a buyer representation agreement, how long is the agreement for? 3 months, 6 months, 5 years? That's important. If they're not happy with them, are they tied to them for 5 years in an agreement? If they're listing their house with them, I find a lot of people don't even know how long the listing contract is for. Do you find that as well?
Like if you're talking
people will reach out to me and say, we're not happy with our realtor. We don't know when our contract expires. How can we figure that out?
They should have a copy of the listing agreement.
Right.
They probably
I mean, they
You're
don't.
right, yeah.
I would say 9 times out of 10, the messages I get like that, they say that.
Yeah.
So again, I direct them back to their realtor, but yeah, I find that they don't even know. I think maybe they're just quickly signing and whatnot, but it's important to pay attention to that because you're locked in selling for whatever's on the listing agreement. And
It's usually at least 2 months, I would think. So, because I think Toronto Real Estate Board now has the 60-day minimum to put the listing on the systems.
So
now it like
probably
has to be
minimum
60
2
days.
months it's going to be, or more. Sometimes people do 6 months, a year.
You have to sign a special spot if it's more than 6, I think, right on the
It's
listing
important to know how long those contracts are for. But, and also it's just important to only be communicating with your realtor because other people's clients have accidentally given me too much information about themselves, like at open houses and stuff like that.
That could be used against them. Not personally, but because that's the nature of our job.
Right. So if I'm representing a seller and someone else's buyer comes into my open house, which I had happen before, and tells me
they're not quite approved.
Oh, we love this house. We would pay $10,000 over or whatever. Then, you know, when you're representing the seller, that's obviously information that, that's helpful to them. Or if they have cameras or whatever in the house too, right? So, it's just important to communicate with your realtor. Sometimes I'll get very basic questions, like on realtor.ca, they'll say, is this house still available? And they'll say that they have a realtor. So I just reply and say, yes, it is. Please contact whoever their realtor's name is for further information.
Yeah.
So they're getting like very...
And a question I always ask to clarify too is, like if you're unsure, or this is kind of for the real estate agents, maybe as like a word track you can use is like, are you already working with a good agent or are you still on your own?
Yeah.
And then see what they say. Oh, I'm still on my own, or yeah, I'm working with so and so. Like that should always be a question you ask everyone.
It always is.
Yeah. Just
for everyone's sake.
Yeah.
Even for my own sake. I don't want to sit and talk to somebody for an hour and a half and then at the end of the conversation they're like, great, thanks for the information. We'd love to work with you, but we're already working with this person.
And like, sometimes it gets tricky because it's not, sometimes it's like, we went to an open house once. The real estate agent set us up on an auto search. Haven't talked to them since.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, well, what is? Do they have an agent? Are they working with that agent? You know, I guess if you ask that question, they say that, and they say, but we didn't sign anything. But signing something isn't just what defines if you're under agency, like with an agent or not, like relationship. So.
But I mean,
it's very gray area, right? It's very difficult to kind of know sometimes, and it's I don't
expect just because I emailed somebody some stuff that they're my
client.
Neither
would I. Yeah, exactly.
But I guess some people would.
Yeah. But as an agent, you just don't want to get other agents upset. You don't want to get in trouble, and you don't want to like break rules. So it's very hard to know, and that's why for the public, I would just say, like, try and make it clear. It's never personal on our end as agents. We just don't want to step on toes.
Exactly. Well, and also realtors talk too. So if somebody says, like, I'm kind of working with Brandon Timmins, but not really. It's like, okay, what does that mean? Is he your realtor? I might say to you, Brandon, are you working with these people or like what's going on?
Yeah.
And you might say, yeah, we just looked at like 3 houses last night. They're my people. I have them signed and everything.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's not the story I got. Or whatever, right? So it just...
We had that happen last week with someone. Like you and I, just with the one person that reached out to both of us.
So
which is good because then we can be on the same page. Like I'm not upsetting you, and I think that's good for agents to kind of try and.
So it's nice to clarify things with people.
Yeah.
Or I've had ones where I reach out to the realtor. They're like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not working with them at all. I think I met them once, like a year ago." I'm like, "Hey, perfect. Okay, just wanted to clarify that."
And sometimes agents, like, there's an agent in our office, awesome agent, Donna. She reached out to me, and she was like, "Your client." Reached out to me. You helped them buy the house. What was that?
A cord.
Oh, come on, Janice. And anyways, reached out to me. Bloopers. Reached out to me, and she was like, "Yeah, they want to sell their house now, but I know you helped them buy it." I had no idea. There was a reason why. But I really appreciated her doing that. Didn't change anything.
That's what you do.
I wasn't like, yeah, they're my client. They have to work with me. No, it's not up to me. It's up to them, right? But that's the message overall to the public is it's up to you who you want to work with. If you sign something, then you have to adhere to a contract, and you should know what that contract is. If you haven't signed something, then you should still have a conversation about if you want to proceed with working with that agent or not, and that's entirely up to you and your agent. And then if you're not, you're not. And if you are, you are, right?
Well, and another thing I don't think the public realizes is that all of us realtors have to work together, and it's important to respect each other because we work together so much, right? So it isn't worth it for me to try and say, take one of your clients, for example, for a one-time paycheck to burn our bridges for the next 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not going to go over well if that were to happen. And also over the course of our career, it's not going to be a fun time working with each other the numerous times that we have to. And I just feel like in that case, what goes around comes around. So you don't ever forget what the other realtors did to you. And I don't want to be that realtor who's done something weird to one of my colleagues.
Yeah.
Or another agent, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know if the public realizes how important that part is to a lot of agents as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, we care about our own business and families more than other random realtors we barely know. But we also do still care about other realtors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's another piece that's important.
Unless you don't work at Central 21. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, for sure. I would just say like it can be very tricky as a real estate agent to give the right message to someone when they say they're working with an agent, if they're asking for help of some kind, or if they like say they want to work with you, they've been working with someone else, but they say they want to work with you. I've had that a few times.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but are you like, what are you supposed to do? Like, no, you just said you're still working with the other agent, but you want to work with me. Have you like, I guess you should say like, have you had the conversation? Have you talked to them yet? Do
Yeah.
they know? Are they on the same page? And then you can choose what you want to do after that. But you don't want to like promote that either. So it's very tricky
It is for sure.
because of the rules. So hopefully that helps people get an idea of like the nature of the relationship. Cool, let's do another one.
Got it.